By now, everyone has heard what Donald Trump said about Canada joining the United States, and Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney's visit to the White House.
Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale. It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
And suddenly, there's talk of Canada becoming the next US state. Sounds crazy, maybe. But people are asking, is it even possible? What would that mean for immigration? And would it destroy Canadian identity as we know it? Hi, I'm Maimone, founding attorney at Maimone Legal. And yes, I actually moved from Canada to Florida 8 years ago. So when I say this whole idea about Canada becoming a US state hits close to home, I mean that literally. As someone who's lived under both systems and now helps people navigate immigration every day, I've got a lot to say about this merger idea. So let's break it down. Where did this idea come from? Canada isn't filing papers next week, but the concept isn't completely out of nowhere. For decades, Canada and the US have been tied together in ways most people don't even realize. Start with USMCA, the trade agreement that replaced NAFTA. It links the economies of the US, Canada, and Mexico in ways that make them feel like one giant economic zone. If you do business between these countries, it's already like there are no borders. Goods, services, and even labor move relatively freely. Then there's NORAD, the Joint US-Canada Military Defense System. It's literally a shared defense command. We track each other's airspace, coordinate missile defense, and even have Canadian officers stationed in Colorado. That's a level of integration most countries never reach. So yeah, economically and militarily, the US and Canada are already kind of roommates. A growing number of Canadians are actually moving to the US. Why? To escape sky-high taxes, harsh winters, and in some cases for more business-friendly environments. They're retiring in Florida, investing in real estate, or just looking for better job opportunities. And that migration is changing the landscape more than you'd think. Canada's recent increase in capital gains tax, raising the taxable portion from 50% to 66.7% for gains above $250,000 Canadian, has prompted some Canadians to seek more favorable tax environments in the US. The allure of milder winters has always been a draw. In 2023, over half of US home purchases by Canadians were in Florida, followed by 14% in Arizona and 4% in California. So it's not totally outrageous that people are wondering, if we're this connected and Canadians are coming here anyway, why not make it official? Could this legally happen? Let's talk law. Could Canada legally become a US state? Technically, yes, but only in the same way that any country would, under extremely complicated and unlikely conditions. Canada would have to dissolve itself as a sovereign nation. Its provinces would either become individual states or form a unified one. The US Congress would have to approve. Both nations would need public support, like referendums. It would require massive constitutional changes on both sides. So, is it possible? Technically. Is it probable? Probably not. Here's what's actually happening. Yes, more and more Canadians are choosing to live, work, and retire in the United States. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a sign of strong, healthy ties between two great countries. According to US government data, over 11,000 Canadians received green cards in 2022 alone. Thousands more are here on work visas, investment visas, or just spending winters down south. So yes, the idea of uniting Canada and the US might seem like the next step in the closeness, but it's not the answer. Here's why. First, merging two immigration systems would be a legal disaster. Canada's point-based system is totally different from America's. Trying to combine them would throw millions of immigration cases into confusion overnight. Second, sovereignty matters. Canada and the US have different laws, cultures, and political identities. That's not a weakness, it's a strength. You can love both without forcing them into one system. And third, immigration already works without a merger. Canadians can legally live and work in the US with the right visas. Americans can do the same in Canada. There are treaties, agreements, and legal pathways that already serve both countries without erasing either one. We believe in cross-border opportunity, not cross-border erasure. You can respect a country without absorbing it. You can move between nations without merging them. As immigration attorneys, we're here to help people navigate that legally and smartly, not through political hypotheticals that solve nothing. The truth is, Canada isn't becoming a US state anytime soon, but the fact that people are even talking about it shows how blurred the lines between countries can feel, especially when immigration is involved.
When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country.
If you've got questions about moving to Canada or the US, whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, we've got you. Subscribe for bold legal takes, drop your thoughts below, and don't worry, Canada, we love you just the way you are.